everybody, happy Friday. I hope this finds you all doing well. It's been a while since I've been on here. I wanted to come on though today. We went on vacation, and we went on a social distancing vacation in the North Carolina mountains and had a lovely cabin, and it was really nice. We did a lot of hiking and biking, and it was really great. So now I'm back and had some much needed R&R. So anyway, I wanted to let you know that I am going to be putting out at the end of this month some live free webinars on the 4 pillars of health, and I'm also going to be releasing a digital course on transitioning your health, or transitioning to a whole food plant-based diet. And anyway, so there'll be a lot of details in that in the webinars as well. So more to come. I'll have some signups and stuff like that. So hey guys, thanks for joining. I see Kara and I see Lindsay. So anyway, today I wanted to talk about a topic, nitric oxide. I know, right? It's kind of like, what in the world, right? Anyway, I've been looking at the work of Dr. Nathan Bryan, who's kind of a foremost expert on nitric oxide. And he's kind of a leader in the subject, does lots of research and that sort of thing. Worked with some of the people that discovered nitric oxide only like 30 years ago. They just discovered this molecule. So, what is it? Most people haven't heard of it, right? You can't go to your physician and say, can you check my nitric oxide level? Because there is no such lab. You can't just check it in a routine lab like you can like vitamin D levels or cholesterol, that sort of thing. And so there's no way to check it. And there's really no recognized drug therapies, drug therapies for raising your nitric oxide levels, because you do want it high nitric oxide. And so there's no way to diagnose it, and there's no way to treat it, so nobody talks about it. And so they don't check it at your routine doctor's office. So anyway, what is it? Nitric oxide is recognized as one of the most important molecules produced in humans. It's produced in the lining of the blood vessels, which is the endothelium, the endothelial cells, which is that innermost lining of our blood vessels, right? So it regulates blood flow, it brings oxygen delivery to all the tissues, it vasodilates, so it's really important in cardiovascular health and regulating blood pressure. It's also a neurotransmitter, so it's really important for our nervous system and brain health. And it also has a role to play in our immune health, right? Which is something that I know we're all sort of trying to make sure we can fight off invading pathogens, like, you know, in this time especially, right? So Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, many of you might know him, famous cardiologist who was one of the first to show the reversal of heart disease through a plant-based diet, says that our endothelial cells are our life jacket of our blood vessels, and it makes the nitric oxide, which really protects our heart. And he says they're sort of the guardian of our blood vessels, and we have blood vessels all over our body, right? So it's really important. He says it keeps the blood flowing like Teflon instead of like Velcro, is what he says, right? So that's why it's so important. And as many of us that live in America, or even in many other countries that are in the developing world, we've spent a lifetime destroying or hurting and harming our endothelial cells through the foods we eat, and so our cells aren't able to protect us, right? And we have low nitric oxide oftentimes if we're eating the wrong things. So, and as we age, the thing is that our nitric oxide levels naturally go down. So it's like 10 to 20% per decade or something like that. So by the time we're 40 to 50, we are making 50% less nitric oxide naturally than when we were younger. So again, super important. So what other things decrease nitric oxide production? Things like smoking, not exercising, or eating an inflammatory diet, processed foods, meat, dairy, that sort of thing. All of those things contribute to low nitric oxide levels. And so other things that can also decrease it are medications. So antibiotics is a big one, because we need the bacteria in our gut to help with production, and PPIs, proton pump inhibitors, and other antacids block absorption as well. And interestingly enough, even mouthwash, that was a new one that I learned recently. So they basically shut down nitric oxide production, all of those foods. So we need to not be on them as much as we are, right? I know a lot of people are on PPIs, but really they're meant to be a short-term solution. So, and even children they've found can have the endothelial cells of 50 to 60-year-olds if they are eating a poor diet. So, and anyway, let's talk now kind of more about how we can improve it, right? Because we know we need a nitric oxide, because low levels are associated with, you know, heart disease, stroke, even diabetes, erectile dysfunction, all of those things. So how do we bump it up? Anybody that's heard Dr. Esselstyn speak knows his position on this, and the best thing we can do is eat lots and lots of leafy greens. It's the thing that really helps us bump up that nitric oxide level. So greens like kale, spinach, collard greens, broccoli, cauliflower, so the cruciferous veggies are amazing, cabbage, bok choy, what else? So many, arugula, mustard greens, beets and beet greens, he says, are all super important. And he says steaming them is even better. If you can steam them for a couple minutes, it helps with absorption even more and releasing of the nitric oxide. And then also drizzling them with vinegar, like a balsamic vinegar. All of that, really, those components together really help us bump up that nitric oxide. And so also just a whole food plant-based diet, because you need antioxidants for nitric oxide. So fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, with the king being the greens, right? So lots and lots of greens will help you boost that. And again, what do we need to avoid? So things that need to be avoided: meat, dairy, processed foods. They're highly inflammatory, they're full of fat, and oils, because oils are full of fat also. And when you eat a high fat meal, that almost immediately shuts down your nitric oxide levels. And so, and then staying well hydrated is really, really important. And exercising can also, it really boosts endothelial cell function. And so, the exercise is important for that too. So I just say this just because there's so much that is preventable, right, in the United States, and again, many countries in the developed world. Diet is really the single leading predictor variable for death, for mortality, unfortunately. It just is, and diet kills 500,000 people in the United States every year prematurely. And if you don't die, if the diet's not killing people, they're just living with more disability because they're chronically sick. So, you know, that's why I bring this stuff to you, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learned something. But anyway, always reach out if you have questions, and I hope you all have an amazing weekend. I'm sorry it's like 100 degrees out here now, and I'm like sweating. So I'm gonna let you go. Everybody have a great day.